Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, regardless of where you are. It's always a great time to talk about the gospel enlightened by Spiritism. Today, we're going to review chapter 46 of the book, Our Daily Bread. It is titled You, However, and it's based on Romans chapter 15, verse 1. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Kardec Radio for providing us with opportunities just like this one to study the gospel and to have conversations. Kardec Radio is available in several platforms, including the X platform. An interesting thing about the X platform is that you can submit questions and comments to Kardec Radio through that social media. Before we begin, let's take an opportunity to connect with the divine and to say our initial prayer. Thank you, Lord, for all the teachings that have been provided to us. Thank you for all the enlightenment that the gospel brought to us. Thank you for all the clarity that Spiritism has been provided to us since the 19th century. May we not only study and understand the concepts, but most importantly, apply to our daily lives so that we can make the best of the gift of the knowledge that He has been bestowed upon us. So be it. So, again, today we're going to be discussing chapter 46 of the book, Our Daily Bread, which is titled You, However. It is again based on Paul, the letter from Paul to the Romans, chapter 15, verse 1. And it reads like this: We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. This is a very interesting concept because in this case, Paul was indicating to the Romans, in this case, to the Roman Christians, and of course, the lesson applies to all of us, that those who are strong, but strong in what? Strong in our values, and strong in our faith, and strong in our beliefs. So we have to support, to help, to assist those who are lacking that conviction and not to please ourselves. So it's not just for us to be considering ourselves superior or in a better position, a better status, but ourselves up here while we see others that are struggling and lack again of conviction. No, I mean it is important that we support those individuals as well. Many further clarifies this passage, indicating that with what object, I'm sorry, with what objective does the individual acquire the correct notion of faith in God? He does it to evade the struggle and subsist relying on heaven. So that's the first point here. So why is it that we have the notion? Why is it that we're believers in God, believers in Spiritism, believers in the Christian teachings? So are we doing that just to evade the struggle, just to pass by and just to be able to overcome our difficulties and relying on the spiritual world? Is that what we're doing? So there's more to us. There's a better need for us than that. Man indicates that such an attitude would not be comprehensible. So it doesn't make sense for us to just to have this understanding and just keep it to ourselves. The student achieves the light of understanding in order to put it into practice in his own journey. Jesus conceded him a piece of heaven so that he could evolve and extend it while on earth. So the student, right? Who are students? We're all students, and we all get the light of understanding. But it is important for us to put it in practice in our journey. We're all in a journey. We're all in a path for spiritual development, which includes moral and intellectual development. So we're all on that journey. So and Jesus give us a piece of heaven. This give us this consolation and so that we could evolve, so it can help us in our journey, but also so that we can extend it while on earth, so we can extend it to all others while incarnated here on earth. Emmanuel continues his teaching here, indicating that to receive the sacred assistance from the Master only to remove it from the laboratory of redemption is to manifest extreme ignorance. So again, if I'm receiving all this assistance, all the support from the Master, from Jesus, and but I'm not putting to practice if it's not part of the laboratory. So when you're in a laboratory, what is it that you do? You do experiments. You do experiments. If you're supposedly a scientist or a researcher and you're in a lab, you're going to do research, you're going to do experiments, and then you're going to learn from those experiments and gain more knowledge, and then conduct other experiments so that you can further expand your comprehension. So that's the way. This is the planet Earth is our laboratory of redemption. This is the place where we put into practice what we have learned in theory for our own development. And it's interesting that Jesus indicates to us that again, so if we're not going to put what we're teaching to practice, that's ignorance. We're receiving the message, but we don't know exactly what to do with it. Emmanuel continues here indicating that to give oneself to Jesus Christ involves striving for the establishment of his kingdom on earth. So to give yourself to Jesus Christ, meaning to be for us to consider ourselves true Christians, then we have to establish, we have to strive, we have to work hard so that his kingdom is, that earth becomes for the establishment of his kingdom on earth so that earth itself might evolve. The interesting thing is that earth is not going to just evolve if I evolve. Of course, if I myself help myself and I evolve and I become much better than I am right now, I've done my part. But also, as part of my part as well, is to contribute to the whole planet because as I help my brothers and sisters, especially those who are struggling in their faith, who are struggling in their belief, who are feeling insecure, even though they know theoretically what they have to do. So, again, if I'm not supporting those individuals as well, then yeah, even though I've worked hard on myself, but I failed to contribute to to the establishment of the kingdom of Jesus on earth. In other words, I failed to assist in the development of the planet as a whole. Emmanuel clarifies here that the earthly temples, due to the lack of understanding of the truth, remain replete with inert souls that deserted their service because of their desire to achieve blessings. So, earthly temples, and it's interesting that he's being very generic here. He's not talking about any particular religion, and regardless of what religion, what belief system one follows. And so, it is the truth is that it is not about us to out about us to go to a center, for instance, or to a spiritist. That would be our version of a temple. Go to a spiritist center and receive the enjoy all that great energy and receive so many blessings from the spiritual world. I mean, this is great, but we're gonna be inert souls if that's all that we're gonna be achieving. Menu continues indicating that these can be found in individuals who are not as yet who have not, I'm sorry. These can be found in individuals who have not, as yet, achieved the necessary sense of reality. However, you, who are more versed in the knowledge of the gospel, should not rest indifferently in face of the sacred duties of the shining light due to the infinite goodness of the Christ in your inner world. So, yeah, Manuel continuously clarifies to us that, okay, individuals have not yet achieved the necessary sense of reality. They go to a center or to some other temple, some other religious congregation, and they're just there to receive their blessings, just to receive all this positive energy from the spiritual world, which is great. But that's not it. That's not the whole truth. That's not the whole reality. The reality is that if we're versed in the knowledge, if we are strong by Paul's definition, so we should not just do our duties are to also spread that light of infinite goodness in us. And and then Emmanuel continues here that it is imperative, therefore, for everyone to take hold of his work, tools, and to strive for the victory of righteousness within the circle of persons and activities that surround him. So we see here the importance that we have. Okay, it is great for us to focus and have this peace in our world. However, it is very important, and Emmanuel says it is not just part; it is imperative. It is fundamental that everyone do their tools. That everyone, in his friend, that his tools, right? He's in this case here, actually, that was his in this case using as a generic pronoun. But what he's saying is for each individual to take the tools. So each one of us have different tools. Each one of us have different abilities, and together with the knowledge that we have, having these particular abilities, and those abilities could be interpersonal communications, knowledge, public speaking, the ability to organize activities, the ability to communicate, the ability to inspire, the ability to build with your hands. Regardless of the tools that you have, the abilities that you have, those talents that you have. So you take those and you strive, you work for the victory of righteousness, the victory of good around those individuals who are around you. And individual is funny that Emmanuel uses the term persons and activities. So it doesn't matter if it's individuals, if we're dealing with individuals, but also in our activities, in our actions, in those accomplishments that we're doing daily. So it is important, again, for us to use our capabilities to help to foster the victory of good around those. The menu finalizes here indicating that many sick spirits overtaken by false preoccupations and laziness in the world will plead ignorance. You, meanwhile, are not weaklings, nor are you lacking of the Lord's mercy. This is quite interesting because the man indicates here that it's a sick spirit, right? A spirit that is ill. And the whole definition here, he does underline what the definition of a sick spirit is. A sick spirit, it is one that is overtaken by false preoccupations and laziness. So again, those individuals have the wrong focus as far as their spiritual activities, and they're lazy. I mean, they just are not willing to put in the effort. Interesting enough, Emmanuel uses the term strive here twice in this lesson. So he is indicating the need for us to work towards something. So striving, it's kind of like in opposition to laziness. The contrast between not doing anything and actually being active and striving to working hard for something to happen. Um, and we can see that, right? We can see the again the apathy that sometimes we might be faced with, the apathy of thinking, "Hey, I cannot fix the world." But interestingly, again, that Emmanuel does mention here that yeah, you cannot fix the whole world, you cannot fix the universe, but at least around those people and around in those activities that you take part of, that is part of your circle, you can always do good. You can always strive for the establishment of good. And Emmanuel reminds us that we're not weaklings. So a lot of times we think, oh, again, I mean, poor little me, what can I do? Yeah, there's always something that we can do. There's always the tools, always the abilities, and that we have the skills that we have been acquired, not only in this reincarnation, but in previous reincarnations as well. So we're not weaklings. We're not um, incapable individuals. All of us have a way to do it. All of us are strong. All of us have been learning through so many reincarnations, so we are strong. We're not perfect, but we have definitely have the strength, the wisdom, and knowledge, or at least sufficient to strength, wisdom, and knowledge to be of service. And the most important thing in the end here, he reminds us that none of us is lacking Lord's mercy. When the going gets tough, we can always connect ourselves to our spiritual friends and ask for assistance, and that assistance will reach us when the time is right. This is our conversation for today. Again, this is our daily bread, chapter 46. You, however, I do invite everyone to study this book. This book is in English, can be found in English, can be found in Portuguese and in Spanish. At least that I know of, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were also available in several other languages. And it has some very short teachings here that are always impactful and helpful for us. I'd like again to thank Kardec Radio for opening up their platform for conversations just like this one. Again, Kardec Radio is available in several social media platforms, and they also have their own app. And when you use their app, you have access to podcast like programs. So check out their app in your favorite app store. At this moment, let's close our eyes in prayer again and thank the Lord for all the great gifts that life provides to us. Even though sometimes we feel helpless, but we are all strong because we're all striving to become a better version of ourselves. And as we move on, as we improve, as we evolve, we also have a chance to bring our brothers and sisters along with us as well. So we are so much stronger than we believe. We are strong in our teachings. We're strong just in our own, based on our own capabilities. And also, we are strong because we have so many spiritual benefactors that are always ready to help us and to guide us, regardless of the situation. May God's blessings be with us. And whenever we feel weak, may we never forget to ask for assistance, and the assistance will come. So be it.